On Monday, we began our assignment on 2% credit card calculations. And so we took two things that we had worked on previously. In this case, it happened to be our credit card purchase. And then our second thing was the credit card analysis. So you should have done a credit card purchase and gotten a total. On the credit card purchase assignment, my sample, my teacher sample, here was my total, $2706.25. And that's going to match here in the balance in this one as well. And then where did I get this credit card? This credit card is the card I chose after researching 3 credit cards. I chose the Navy Federal secured card. And this rate comes from that card. So 18% was my rate. Navy Federal card is the card I chose. And how do I convert this rate? I'm going to make it a 0.18 if it's 18%. Now, what if you didn't research a card or didn't finish these other parts? Please just use 2,500 as your balance for now, and please just use 26.99% as your rate, which will be 0.2699. So let's make sure that you're caught up to the same place with me now. So I'm taking my balance from cell G6 and I'm transferring it over here into D2. This balance is going to be used to calculate using some formulas here on sheets. The first formula explained in the notes needs to be A2 plus 1. So A2 plus 1. If I just type A2 plus 1, it doesn't work. You always have to have an equals for the formulas. Notice that as soon as I have the equals, please check your spreadsheet right now that in cell A3, it says equals A2 plus 1. In cell A3, does it say A2 plus 1 as the formula? And then the value should be a 1. Now for your interest, this formula, which again is referenced on the notes, I'm now in cell B3. You need an equals to start every formula. This needs to be your balance, D2, times your rate, 0.18, divided by 12, because this is a monthly payment. So take a second to double check that your formula in cell B3 says equals D2 times 0.18 divided by 12. My number is going to be different than your number because my balance is different than yours and because my rate is different than yours. You should have your rate in here divided by 12 using your balance. All credit cards use a 1 or 2% minimum rule. So we're now going to see what's the payment on this credit card if this is my balance. So the formula for cell C3, also shown in the notes, is equals D2 times 0.02. That's 2% of my balance. Can you double check right now that your cell C3 says equals D2 times 0.02? And again, your amount right here is going to be different than mine because your balance is different than mine. Finally, I want to calculate my new balance after I made a payment in the first month. So I need to take my balance, I need to add the interest charge, and I need to subtract the payment to find my new balance. So here I go, type in this formula, equals D2 plus B3 minus C3. And your balance is going to be different than mine because you had a different starting balance and a different rate. So D2 plus B3 minus C3, can you please double check that you have this total, this formula, in your cell D3. Now that we have all these formulas, rather than typing them again in every line, Google Sheets allows us to filter down and copy all the formulas. So in order to highlight, I'm going to show you how to highlight all 4 boxes right now, and then we're going to drag it down. So if I click in the first box with my mouse and then move my mouse over, notice I'm not dragging anything, I'm not clicking anything, I'm just hovering over D3. I'm now going to click Shift, Select, or click of the mouse. and it should highlight all 4 boxes. Then when I go to drag, now it should drag the formulas all the way down. I need you to double check that you highlighted all 4 rows and dragged these down. We need to drag all the way down to 60 months. That's going to land right on the 62nd box. Notice that mine says 60 months down to here. This is the first total that we're asking for up in the other yellow boxes. It says, what is the balance owed after 60 months? So I'm going to go grab this balance owed, and I'm going to go up and put it. Total owed after 5 years is $2,003.33. Again, your number is going to be different because you have a different interest rate and a different balance. Total paid after 5 years. In order to get the total paid, I'm going to use the summation formula in my payment column. These are my minimum payments here in the middle. So total paid after 5 years, I'm going to go to the bottom of C. I'm technically in C63 after I made 60 months of payments. And I'm going to go to the summation function. And I want to do equals the sum of C3 all the way down to C62. Equals the sum, those have to be capital letters, parentheses, C3 to C62. And this is how much I've paid in payments on this debt after 60 months. I just totaled up all the payments that I made. So 2811.68 is my total paid after 5 years. 2811.68. Yours is going to be a different number because you have a different balance. What is I'm going to explain to yours in particular, Alexander, at the end of the video. Give me a second. Total interest paid after 5 years. So interest paid after 5 years is the interest calculations. So I'm going to go down to the bottom of this column and I'm going to do the summation again. So I'm going summation of B3 to B62. So this time I'm using the summation function to see how much interest did I pay during that 5 years. And I'm summing up B3 to B62 using the summation function. If you can't find this summation function, you can just type the word equals sum parentheses B3 to B62. Again, this is on the direction sheet. So my total is 2108.76, and that's what's going to go here in the total interest paid after 5 years. 2108.76. Let me check my number. So Ryan, I'm making a video, so you need to wait till after the video for the questions. And then yes, I will start over again. So 2108.76 is my total from the summation function here. Now that I have these totals, the next question it asks is how much does it take to pay off this item, the total amount paid for the item, and the total interest paid for this item. So I'm going to show you now how we're going to get these totals and where we went on Monday. So now that I'm done with these summation functions, do you guys remember that on Monday we were like, oh my gosh, I am so tired of paying this debt. I need to try to pay more monthly. I'm going to up how much I'm paying monthly here to try to pay it off sooner. This is taking way too long. It's been 5 years and I still owe $2,000. So I asked you guys to grab this row and drag it down one more time. But instead of making the minimum payment, I asked you to change it to $100 flat. So we deleted out in cell C63, we deleted out the minimum payment and we put in $100. And then this is where we left off. I asked you guys to drag it down on Monday until it finally was paid off. Keep going until you get to a balance of 0 or it goes slightly negative. And so for me, that happened in month 84. And so how many months did it take me to pay off? Number of months for me was 84 months. Now, what is the total amount I paid on this debt and the total interest? I'm going to go do the summation functions now at the very bottom. Again, I'm going to do the summation in column C. How many payments did I make? And I'm actually going to delete one of these off. I don't need this negative one. I'm just doing 84 months. So how many total payments did I make? I'm going to go for the sum of C3. Now this is going to be a different number for all of you because I am going to C86 because I had 84 payments. You're going to need to make sure you get all the way down to this last cell, whatever it is for you. And then I want you to go sum up the payments you made here as well. Let's sum these up with the summation function at the bottom. And this is going to be B3 to B86. This total is the total of the interest that I paid on my item. This is the total amount that I paid for my item. So $25,0584 is my total interest, and the total amount paid is all the sum of the payments, $52.11 and 68 cents. $52.11 and 68 cents. And again, these two came from the summation in the columns way down here. I'm going to put the cells for me. It was from cell C87 and from cell B87 at the very bottom. So I'm going to put a little note that says summation in B, C column. And this one is summation in B column, my total interest.